Good morning to all of you guys. How are you? I hope that all of you are doing fine. To start our lesson, I want to ask this question for all of you. What comes to your mind when you hear the word law? O sa Tagalog, batas. In our nation, law or batas is very important thing to understand because it serves as the foundation of our nation. Imagine our nation without a law. Probably, it would be a chaotic one. And basically, there is no order. Okay? So, sa Tagalog, masasabi nating magulo ang isang bansa kapag walang batas. So, by that kind of scenario, we can say that a law is any written or positive rule or collections of rules prescribed under the authority of the state or nation as by people in its constitution. In math, we also have laws or rules that we need to consider and we need to understand. And once we've understood all of these principles or laws, we will have a deep knowledge in solving mathematical equations. Alam ko na lahat kayo is excited na pag-aralan itong ating bagong lesson. Let's get started. So, our lesson for this morning is all about the laws of exponents. I do believe that you already have a knowledge about this lesson or the lesson exponents. So, ang pag-uusapan natin ngayong umaga is all about the laws that we need to apply in order for us to simplify algebraic expressions involving exponential forms. The first law that we will be tackling is all about the product rule. From the word product, what is the operation that is involved here? It is simply multiplication. Okay, so what is a product rule? In mathematics, this is in the form of a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of n is equal to a raised to the power of m plus n. So, ano nga ba yung ibig sabihin na? Or, in other words, if we are multiplying two variables or two numbers that have the same bases, all we have to do there is to copy the base and then we add the exponent. Okay, balikan ulit natin po. So, see this? It is a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of n. Ano yung base nila? A. And then we copy the base and then we add the exponent which is m and another exponent which is in application of this, here are some examples. So, example number 1, a raised to the power of 3 times a raised to the power of. Okay, so I'll just copy the problem. Again, parehas sila ng bases, which is so all we have to do here is to copy the base and then we add the exponent. 3 plus 2. Okay? Copy again the base. 3 plus 2, that is 5. Therefore, we can say that the product of a raised to the power of 3 times a raised to the power of 2 is just simply a raised to the power of 5. Ulitin ko kung paano natin nakuha yung 5. We just copy the base and add the exponent, which is 3 plus 2, and that is equivalent to 5. Okay, ganun lang siya kadali. I hope na nakuha natin tong part na to. And another example is we have 2 raised to the power of 6 times 2 raised to the power of 3. Again, same procedure that we've done in the first example. We just copy the base, which is 2, and then we add the exponent. That is 6 plus. Okay? 6 plus 3 is equivalent to 9. This is not yet simplified, so we can still simplify this. Next thing, ano na yung gagawin natin dito? 2 raised to the power of 9 is not yet in simplified form. As I have said, we can simplify this by simply multiplying 2 by itself 9 times. So that will be 2 times 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 2 until you will multiply it 9 times by itself. So the product of that is equivalent to 512. Ganun lang siya kasi. I hope na nakuha natin itong first rule, which is the product. By the way, I forgot to say it a while ago. I want you to copy all of the examples that is being solved here on yours. Okay, so this will serve as your review. Okay, so that later on, you will solve the activities, okay, in your module week 14. Alright, we move on to the second rule, which is the quotient rule. Okay, what is the quotient rule? The quotient rule is just simply in a form or in a mathematical equation like this. If we are dividing a product of two quantities or two variables or maybe two numbers, all we have to do there is to copy the base and then we subtract the exponent. So that is in the form of a raised to the power of m divided by a raised to the power of n is equivalent to a raised to the power of m minus n. Alright, so example, x raised to the power of 10 divided by x raised to the power of 6. And another example of this is 10 raised to the power of 6 divided by 10 raised to the power of. Okay, so let's solve first the first problem, which is x raised to the power of 10 divided by x raised to the power of 6. Again, in product rule, we copy the base and then we add the exponents, right? So in here, in quotient rule, we copy the base, but at this time, we will no longer add the exponent. Rather, we will subtract the exponent. So that is 10 minus 6. Okay? Our final answer will be, copy the base, 10 minus 6, that is x raised to the power of 4. Okay? Ganun lang siya din kadali. And then, we move on to the second example. 10 raised to the power of 6 divided by 10 raised to the power of 3. Again, same procedure. We copy the base, which is 10, and then we subtract the exponent. That is 6 minus 3. Okay? The quotient of this term, or this expression, will be 10 raised to the power of 3. Bakit naging 3? 6 minus 3. So that is, again, this is not yet simplified. So the simplified form of this 10 raised to the power of 3 is 10 times 10 times 10. So that is equivalent to 1,000. Okay? So 10 times 10, 100 times 10, 1,000. Okay? So I hope that we got this. Okay? The second rule, which is the quotient rule. Alright? So I hope na marami kayong natututunan ngayon. Okay? Because later on, we will be combining all of this together with certain examples when we will solve more of this problem. Okay? So, next is we move on to the third rule, which is raising a power to a power. Okay. So, you can see the parenthesis part here. So all we have to do here is to copy the base and then we multiply the exponent outside to the exponent inside the parentheses. Okay? So that is a raised to the power of m n. Okay? So in application of this is we have these examples. So the first example that we have is a raised to the power of 3 quantity raised to the power. Okay. Kagaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, we just copy the base Okay, and then we multiply the exponent. What is the exponent? 3 times 2. So that will be a raised to the power of 6. Okay. So later on, kapag nakakakita kayo ng mga ganitong forms, okay, na mga expression, okay, what you will do here is to just distribute the exponent inside at outside to the inside exponent. So, imumultiply mo lang yun. So that, and after that, i-simplify mo siya. So, therefore, we can now say that the product of A raised to the power of 3, quantity raised to the power of 2, is just simply A raised to the power of 6. Okay, so, another example is 2 times or raised to the power of 3 quantity and raised to the power of 2. Alright. So, all we have to do here is to copy the base, that is 2, and then we multiply the exponent, which is 3 times 2. Okay? So, 3 times 2, that is equivalent to 2, 2, copy the base, raised to the power of 6. Again, this is not yet in simplified form. So, the simplified form of this is 60. Okay? So, I hope na nakuha natin itong rule number 3, which is raising a power to a product rule. Or in other words, pwede natin tawag ito the power of a power. Any questions so far? Madali lang naman siya, di ba? Basic nga lang. Basic. Alam ko na itong mga susunod, mas masasagutan ko pa. And then, we have the fourth rule. The fourth rule is what we call the zero exponents. It says here, if A is a non-zero number, or ibig sabihin, any number that is not zero, what kind of number is this? Or what are the examples of this? It can be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, until to the negative infinity. Or it can be positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, okay? Basta any number that is not a non-zero number. Then, it says here, a raised to the power of 0 is equivalent to 1. Ganito lang yan. Any number that is raised to a power of 0 is always equivalent to 1. Okay? Basta non-zero yung number. Okay? Any number that is raised to the power of 0 is always equivalent to 1. For example, b raised to the power of 0, that is equivalent to 1. Another example is 1 million raised to the power of 0. That is still equivalent to 1. Alright, so more example of this is this. Okay, so 5 raised to the power of 0, that is equivalent to 1. X raised to the power of 0, that is equivalent to 1. And 10,000 raised to the power of 0, that is equivalent to 1. X raised to the power of 0 times y raised to the power of 0, that is equivalent to 1. Okay, bakit siya naging 1? X raised to the power of 0, that is equivalent to 1, times y raised to the power of 0, which is 1. 1 times 1. So that is simply equivalent to 1. Again, this is the principle of zero exponents. Any number or any variable that is raised to the power of 0 except 0, okay, it will always be equivalent to 1. Again, so we have the second examples, which is the negative exponent, okay? So for this is, if n is a positive integer, and if a is a non-zero real number, okay, so that is in a form of mathematical equation. A raised to the power of negative n is equivalent to 1 raised to the power of a. A raised to the power. So, paano nangyari? Okay, so here is just we are simply applying, okay, the reciprocals. If yung negative exponent number is nandun sa may numerator, ilalagay mo lang siya sa denominator. Kapag nasa denominator mo naman is itataas mo siya, ilalagay mo siya dun sa numerator. Okay? So, whenever you come across a negative exponent, the thing reciprocal. So, parang pinagbabaliktad na siya. So, I know that you already have a background. So how we do that? It's just simply like this. Okay, so we have this x raised to the power of negative 5. Okay? So the simplified form of this is 1 raised to the power of 5. Again, uh, remember this, any exponential numbers, okay, that is raised to the power of negative exponents, hindi siya simplified. To get the simplified form of that is kukunin natin yung reciprocal form. Okay? So this will be x raised to the power of negative 5. So that is a raised to the power of x over 5. Alright? So another one is we have this. 1 over 10 raised to the power of negative 2. Okay, yung 10 raised to the power of negative 2, nandun siya sa denominator. So, ang gagawin natin, ipupunta natin siya dun sa numerator. Okay, to make the exponent positive. Okay, so the simplified form of this is 10 raised to the power of 2, and 10 raised to the power of 2 is simply equivalent to 100. So, another one is this. 10x raised to the power of negative 2 divided by 3. Okay, so si 10, ang exponent niya is positive. Meron siyang invisible 1 na exponent doon. Pero si x naman is meron siyang negative exponent which is negative 2. Okay, so ang gagawin natin, yung merong negative exponent lang, yun yung kukunin natin yung reciprocal thing niya. Okay? So kaya nangyari dito si 10, nag-remain siya sa numerator kasi positive naman yung exponent niya. Si x naman is yung kanyang negative, kaya ilalagay natin siya doon sa baba. Okay? Which is sa denominator. Again, si 3, positive, kaya magre-remain siya dito. Kaya the simplified form of this is 10 over 3 times x raised to the power. Okay? Again, that is the negative exponents, okay, which is the rule number. Okay, that we've discussed. So, okay, so I hope all of you guys na intindihan natin yung laws of exponents that I have discussed this morning. What if we will solve a particular problem wherein we will combine all of these laws or some of these laws? Okay, here we go. So the first one is we have x raised to the power of negative 5 times 2. Okay, ano yung rule yung i-apply natin dito? We can apply this on the rule here, the power of a power. Okay, so this will be, ayun, bas yung aking whiteboard. Here we go. So the first one is we have x raised to the power of negative 5 times 2. Okay, ano yung rule yung i-apply natin dito? We can apply this on the rule here, the power of a power. Okay, here we go. So the first one is we have x raised to the power of negative 5 times 2. Okay, ano yung rule yung i-apply natin dito? We can apply this on the rule here, the power of a power. Okay. Number 1, x raised to the power of negative 5. Okay, quantity raised to the power of 2. And again, we apply the rule number 3 here, okay, which is raising a power to a product rule or the power of a power. Again, we copy the base and then we multiply the exponent. Positive 2 times negative 5. Positive 2 times negative 5, or pwedeng magkabaliktad, negative 5 times positive 2. Okay, so the simplified form of this is, copy the base, which is x. 2 times negative 5, that is negative 10. Alright, that is negative 10. Okay, again, sabi ko kanina, any exponential numbers, okay, that has negative exponent is not yet simplified. So now we apply the last law that we've discussed, which is the negative exponent rule. So gagawin natin dito is since meron siyang imaginary 1 dito, okay? So, ang gagawin natin, kukunin lang natin yung reciprocal niya. Okay, yung inverse. Yan. So, this will be 1 over x raised to the power. Okay? So, di ba? Any whole number, okay, it has a imaginary 1 din. So, parang yun lang din. Kukunin lang natin yung inverse na. Okay, it's the negative x raised to the power of 10. Lipat lang natin siya dito sa denominator. At syempre, kapag walang matitira dito, it's automatically 1. Okay, it is automatically 1. Alright? So, number 2. Number 2 example is we have x raised to the power of 4 plus y raised to the power of 5. Oh. And then, divided by x raised to the power of 2 plus, oops, mali yata yung nalagay ko dito. Okay, let's replace 3 by y raised to the power of. Palitan nyo yung 3 dito ng y type. That's type. Okay, so again, what law are we gonna apply here? Law number 2, which is the quotient. Okay? So, this, and that. Okay? So, again, we copy the base, which is x here, and then we copy the operation, which is plus. Okay? Meron na naman siyang isang variable, which is y. Okay? So, first is we go here with the first variable, which is x. And again, we copy the base, and then we subtract the exponent. 4 minus 2. Again, 4 minus 2. Lalagyan natin siya dito. 4 minus 2. Okay? So, another one is y. Okay? We will copy the exponent 5 minus. So, this is y3. Kasi 3 yung nandito. Okay? And then, finally, we can already simplify this. So, x raised to the power of 4 minus 2. What is 4 minus 2? 4 minus 2 is just simply equivalent. Okay? Plus y, 5 minus 3, that is equivalent. Okay? So, I guess this is already the simplified form. Alright. So, another one. Oh, the last example. Okay? Sorry guys, another typo. There's a negative sign here. Merong negative sign dito. So, tanggalin nyo na lang. Tanggalin nyo. So, I will rewrite this in the form of 2x raised to the power of 2 times y raised to the power of 3. Okay, times quantity raised to the power. So, as you can observe there, kanina, isa lang yung variable dito. Pero dito, meron ng isang variable ulit. So, you have 2 variables there. And you also have 2 here, which is the numerical coefficient of x or y. Pwedeng din. Okay? So, since this is, it is associative property, ibig sabihin, kahit na palit-palitin mo yung positions nila, and you will still have the same product. Okay? Especially in multiplication. Okay? Kagaya kanina dito. Okay? Pwedeng magkapaligtad si negative 5 at saka si 2. And still, you will get a product of negative 10. Negative 5 times 2, still negative 10. 2 times negative 5, still negative 10. So, pwede rin siyang mag-interchange. Okay? So, nagbigay lang ako ng short explanation of that property, which is the associative property. Okay, so here, we already have 2 variables and then 1 number. So, what we will do is that we will distribute the exponents of 2 here to every exponent inside. Ibig sabihin, this is negative 2. Meron siyang invisible 1 na exponent dyan. Okay? Invisible. So, ang gagawin natin, i-distribute natin yung exponent dito sa 2 to each term here. Sa exponent ng 2, sa exponent ng x, tsaka sa exponent ng y. Again, and then we copy negative 2, which is the first one. And then we copy the first exponent, which is 1, and then we multiply 2. Okay? And then we copy again the exponent of x, or the variable of x, and its exponent, which is 2. And then we multiply 2 here. Alright, so, and then we have the last one, which is y. We get the exponent, which is 3. Then we multiply the exponent outside, which is 2. Okay, so paano nangyari yun? Ulitin natin. Distribute to the exponent of this. So that is 1 times 2. 2 times 2. And then 3 times. And then we simplify. Okay, so this will be negative 2 times 1 times 2. That is 2. And then x raised to the power of 2 times 2, 4. And then y raised to the power of 3 times 2. That is equivalent to 6. Okay? So this is not yet in simplified form kasi meron pa tayong whole number that is raised to a power which is 2. Again, so we simplify this. How do we simplify this? Negative 2 times negative 2. Again, negative 2 times negative 2. Okay, ito muna. Negative times negative, that's positive. Okay, and 2 times 2, that's equivalent to 4. Alright? So, 4, and then we copy the remaining term, which is already simplified. X raised to the power of 4 times y raised to the power of 6. Okay? So, how do we read this? The final answer will be 4x raised to the power of 4, y raised to the power of 6, or 4 times x raised to the power of 4 times y raised to the power of 6. So, therefore, we can now say that the product of negative 2 x raised to the power of 2 times y raised to the power of 3 quantity raised to the power of 2 is just simply 4 times x raised to the power of 4 times y raised to the power of 6. Okay, any question? I hope that all of you were able to follow for all of this. By the way, I would like all of you to finish the activity E1 and 2, module 7, that is in week 14. Again, in week 14. Okay? So, for those who were not yet able to pass all of the activities on the previous modules, I'm still giving you the chance, okay, to pass all of those. Alright? I hope, guys, that meron kayong natutunan sa umaga. Again, as we conclude, as I have mentioned a while ago, that law is the foundation of a nation. Okay? Kasi ito yung nagbibigay ng order sa isang nation. And same thing in math. The principles we've learned today are the foundations in simplifying algebraic expressions. Alam nyo ba na ang daming na-prostrate sa math or sa algebra ng mga students because they don't know the laws. Siyempre, kapag hindi nila alam yung laws, may hirapan silang i-apply. Okay? So, kaya hindi nila alam yung kanilang mga ginagawa. Okay? Kaya dito, we've talked about this law so that later on, we will be experiencing or we will be facing a lot of polynomials or multiplication of polynomials, division of polynomials, wherein we will be applying all of these laws that we've learned today to solve a certain algebraic expression or to simplify a certain algebraic expression. Okay? So, parang sa buhay, meron din tayong mga batas na sila. Di ba, pag nasa bahay kayo, merong batas. Sabi ni mama, bawal muna maglaro ng ML kapag hindi pa naghuhugas ng pinggan. So, yun yung batas. So, maghugas ka muna ng pinggan, bago ka siguro maglaro. Okay? Anong ML? Yung iba naman, Mobile Legend. Pero ngayon, mayroon ng bagong ML. Alam nyo kung ano? Module Legend. Okay, gas-gas na yung joke ko yun. Pero, I hope na naiintindihan. lessons. Okay, so again, don't forget to answer all of the activities in week 40, activity 1. Okay, God bless all of you guys. See you next week. Shalom.